Something just shifted in Nigeria's political space. Not noise. Not drama. A clear message. Peter Obi has come out again, and this time, he is not trying to impress anyone. He is not trying to please anyone. He is speaking directly to Nigerians. And his message is simple. There is no going back. He said the idea of a new Nigeria is not just a campaign slogan anymore. According to him, it is now a serious commitment that must be achieved, not just for the people living in Nigeria today, but for the children that are yet to be born. He said the country cannot continue like this and expect a better future to appear by luck. He made it clear that a better Nigeria will only happen if Nigerians themselves decide that it must happen. He spoke calmly, but the message was very strong. He said too many people are losing hope in the country, and that is dangerous because when people lose hope, they stop caring about what happens next. He said Nigeria cannot move forward if the citizens no longer believe that change is possible. He then said something that sounded more like a warning than a speech. He said Nigerians must be very careful as the 2027 election starts getting closer. According to him, this is usually the period when politicians start making promises, sharing money, giving out gifts, and trying to win support in ways that do not actually help the country. He told Nigerians not to allow money to decide their future. He said the moment people collect money and vote for the wrong leaders, they are not just selling a vote, they are selling the future of the country. He said this cycle has repeated itself many times in Nigeria, and that is one of the reasons the country is still struggling with the same problems after many years. He explained that real change is not something that will happen because one politician is shouting or because one party is campaigning more than the other. He said real change will only happen when Nigerians themselves decide that competence, honesty, and accountability are more important than tribe, religion, or political party. He also said that many Nigerians already know what is wrong in the country, but the problem is that during elections, emotions, pressure, and short-term benefits often take over from long-term thinking. He said this is why after every election, many people start complaining again, even though they had the opportunity to make a different decision earlier. He made it clear that the next election should not be business as usual. According to him, Nigerians must start asking serious questions. Questions about education. Questions about the economy. Questions about jobs. Questions about security. Questions about how leaders plan to actually run the country, not just how they plan to win elections. He said leadership should not be about who is powerful, who knows people, or who can control the system. He said leadership should be about who can fix problems, manage resources properly, and create opportunities for young people. He said Nigeria has too many talented young people, but the system is not giving them the opportunity to succeed. He also said the country is blessed with resources, but the results do not show it. According to him, this means the problem is not the country, but how the country is being managed. He said if resources are managed properly, many of the problems Nigerians are facing today will reduce significantly. He repeated again that there is no going back on the idea of a new Nigeria. He said this is not about one election, one person, or one political party. He said it is about changing the direction of the country completely so that future generations will not continue to face the same problems again and again. He ended that part of his message by saying that Nigerians must understand that the power to change the country is not in the hands of politicians alone, but in the hands of the voters. He said the day Nigerians truly decide to vote for competence and integrity instead of money and empty promises, that will be the day Nigeria will begin to change for real. He moved to another part of the discussion, and this was where the conversation became more serious and more political. Peter Obi talked about how Nigeria as a country often focuses its energy on the wrong priorities while very important issues affecting ordinary citizens continue to grow without proper attention. He said leadership should always focus on things that improve the lives of the people, such as education, healthcare, security, production, and job creation. But instead, the country spends too much time on political battles and unnecessary controversies. He said when a country is moving in the right direction, many national tensions reduce naturally because people are busy working, businesses are growing, and young people are busy building their future instead of being angry at the system. According to him, when people feel that the system is fair and working, they become more patient and more cooperative with the government. He then mentioned the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, and he spoke in a way that suggested that many problems in Nigeria are caused by poor leadership decisions over many years. He said situations like that do not just appear overnight but grow over time when people feel ignored, when people feel unheard, and when people feel that the government does not care about them. He explained that leadership is not only about reacting when problems become big, but about preventing problems from becoming big in the first place. He said good governance reduces tension, reduces anger, and reduces division because people can see fairness and progress in the system. He also talked about the political environment in the country and how early political campaigns and political activities are already starting to appear in different places. He referred to the actions of the All Progressives Congress and said Nigerians should pay attention to how political processes are being handled, because democracy is not only about voting on election day but also about following proper rules and proper procedures before the election. According to him, when political rules are not followed properly, it creates an unfair environment and can weaken democracy slowly without many people noticing. He said Nigerians should not only listen to speeches but should also watch actions very carefully. He made it clear that the future of Nigeria will not be decided only by politicians but also by how observant and how informed the citizens are. He said a country works better when citizens ask questions, demand accountability, and pay attention to what leaders are doing, not just what they are saying. He continued by saying that Nigeria has reached a point where citizens must become more serious about governance and stop treating politics like entertainment or a seasonal event that only matters during elections. He said governance affects everything, from the price of food to the value of the currency, from job opportunities to business growth, from security to education. He said many Nigerians complain about hardship, but hardship is usually the result of bad decisions, bad policies, and poor management over time. According to him, if leadership decisions are right, the economy improves, businesses grow, investors come in, jobs increase, and the standard of living improves gradually. He also said that Nigeria should be a producing country, not just a consuming country. He explained that countries that produce goods, invest in education, support small businesses, and manage public funds properly usually grow faster and become more stable over time. He said leadership must focus on production, agriculture, technology, manufacturing, and small business support because those are the areas that create jobs and reduce poverty. He explained that government cannot employ everyone, but government can create an environment where businesses can grow and employ people. He then returned again to the issue of leadership and accountability. He said leaders must be transparent about how public money is used and must be ready to explain their decisions to the people. According to him, when leaders know they will be held accountable, they become more careful with public resources. He said Nigeria does not lack talent, intelligence, or resources. What the country lacks, according to him, is consistent and accountable leadership that puts the country first before personal interest. He said until leadership becomes about service instead of power, many of the country's problems will continue to repeat themselves in different forms. He ended that part by saying Nigerians must start looking beyond political parties and start looking at competence, track record, discipline, and the ability to manage people and resources properly, because running a country is serious work and should not be treated like a popularity contest. He added that Nigerians must also begin to understand the power of consistency in leadership decisions. He said one good policy is not enough. One speech is not enough. Real progress comes from doing the right things again and again without distraction. He stressed that the country cannot keep changing direction every few years and expect stability. According to him, policies must be clear, steady, and focused on long-term results. He also warned that emotional politics can destroy serious planning. He said when decisions are made based on pressure, noise, or political survival, the country suffers in silence. He said Nigerians must now demand leaders who can stay focused even when it is difficult. Leaders who understand that fixing a country takes time, discipline, and patience. He made it clear that without this level of seriousness, the same cycle will continue, and the same problems will return again. He then moved the conversation to something more practical and more visible to Nigerians. He said people should not only listen to promises or speeches but should also look at places where leadership is already showing results. He used one example that many people are already talking about. Alex Otti. He pointed to Abia State and said Nigerians should look at what is happening there and ask themselves a simple question. If change can start in a state, why can it not happen in the whole country? He said leadership is not magic and it is not a miracle. According to him, leadership is about planning, discipline, transparency, and putting the right people in the right positions. He explained that when leaders focus on the right priorities, things start to change gradually. Roads begin to improve, schools begin to improve, hospitals begin to improve, and businesses begin to grow because the environment becomes more stable. He said what Nigerians should be looking for now is not big talk but clear results and clear direction. Peter Obi then said that if given the opportunity to lead the country, his focus would be on transparency, accountability, and production. He explained that Nigeria must move from a sharing economy to a production economy. He said too much time is spent sharing money that is not even enough, instead of producing goods, supporting businesses, and creating wealth. According to him, when a country produces more, the currency becomes stronger, jobs increase, and poverty reduces. He said the government must invest heavily in education, especially technical education, so that young people can learn skills and become productive instead of waiting for government jobs that are not enough for everyone. He also said agriculture must become a serious national priority, not just something that is talked about during campaigns. He explained that Nigeria has land, Nigeria has people, and Nigeria has a large market, so there is no reason the country should be struggling with food prices if agriculture is properly organized and supported. He continued by saying that accountability is very important in leadership. He said public money must be treated with seriousness because it belongs to the people. He said when leaders waste public money, it is the citizens that suffer through poor infrastructure, poor healthcare, poor education, and unemployment. He said leaders must be ready to explain how money is spent and what projects are being done. According to him, when there is transparency, there is trust, and when there is trust, the country becomes more stable. He also talked about unity and said Nigeria cannot move forward if the country continues to see itself through tribe, religion, and region instead of seeing itself as one country with one future. He said the problems Nigerians are facing are similar everywhere. High cost of living, unemployment, insecurity, and poor infrastructure are not problems for only one tribe or one religion. They are national problems that require national solutions. He then returned again to the main message, which is that the future of Nigeria will be decided by Nigerians themselves. He said politicians will always campaign, parties will always compete, and promises will always be made, but the final decision will always be made by the voters. He said Nigerians must start thinking about the country they want to see in 10 years, 20 years, and even 30 years, not just what they will gain this year or during one election. He warned that if people continue to vote based on money, tribe, or emotions, then they should not expect different results because the same kind of leadership will continue to appear. But if Nigerians start voting based on competence, integrity, and track record, then gradually the system will begin to change because politicians will also be forced to improve themselves. He ended his message by saying that a new Nigeria is possible, but it will require sacrifice, patience, and courage from both leaders and citizens. He said change is not easy, and it does not happen in one day, but once the right foundation is built, progress becomes easier and faster. He said the country has everything it needs to succeed, but what is needed now is responsible leadership and responsible citizenship. And according to him, if both leaders and citizens do the right thing at the same time, Nigeria will not just change. Nigeria will move forward in a way that people have not seen in a very long time. He added that the responsibility of building a better Nigeria does not rest on leaders alone. He said citizens must also play their part. He explained that voting is not just an event, it is a duty. Every vote counts, he said, and every vote has the power to shape the future of the country. He warned that many people ignore this fact. They allow short-term benefits, gifts, and money to cloud their judgment. But he said this is dangerous because it sacrifices long-term progress for temporary satisfaction. He reminded Nigerians that elections are once in a few years, but the consequences of a wrong choice can last for decades. He emphasized that a new Nigeria is not just about leaders talking, it is about action. It is about measurable results. It is about accountability and transparency. It is about systems that work for all, not just a few. He said citizens should look beyond speeches, campaigns, and promises. They should watch what leaders are actually doing. He mentioned that leadership in states like Abia under Alex Otti shows that change is possible. It is visible. It is real. He concluded that for Nigeria to succeed, everyone must be serious, disciplined, and focused on results. No distractions.
no shortcuts.
The future of the country depends on the choices Nigerians make today.